What exactly is in a name? Well, if you're a car enthusiast, it could be a whole lot, because the reaction to this car here proves that people get very emotional when dealing with specific car models. This is the 2023 Acura Integra, and depending on who you talk to, it's either a totally fine entry-level sporty sedan compact hatchback thingy or an utter failure. Well, here's what. I'm happy to tell you that this is a fine automobile. It's comfortable, of course it is, it's an Acura. I love Acura seats. It's well built, everything works nicely, and it's enjoyable enough to drive. And most of that is because it's based on the 11th gen Civic. This is essentially a gussied up current Honda Civic Si. And that's a good thing because the new Civic Si is rather excellent. So is it worth the $8,000 premium to jump to the Integra? Maybe. Maybe. I know that's a terrible answer, but maybe. And the reason for that, oof, that was a nice hot rod. The reason for that is because this one is basically a hatchback sedan, so you get more room in the back, you get adaptive dampers, you get heated front seats, and you can upgrade to a better sound system because this has the ELS, the Acura 16 speaker ELS sound system. So depending on what you want out of your car, this could be worth it for you. Now, it's not some crazy awesome machine that takes you back to DC2 Integra Type Rs. And that was never the intention of this car. People thought this was gonna be a modern Type R. It's an Integra. It's the regular Integra. The Integra has always been a nicer Civic. Then the performance versions come later. That's gonna happen here too. Of course they're gonna do a Type S and or a Type R, and it's going to be great. That new Civic Type R was just revealed and it looks awesome and it's faster than the old one. So all of that good stuff that they've given that car is gonna happen on this car. But this regular Acura Integra is a nice place to be. This has the optional red seats. Only the front get the micro suede inserts though. The back just have to do with regular leather or whatever the heck that is. But this one, like the Civic Si, comes with a 6-speed manual. But if you want to open it up to more people, because it's not the sportiest one, the standard gearbox is a transmission. I meant to say CVT here. I don't know what happened. Whatever, back to the review. Now, one thing I do not like is to get the manual gearbox, you have to get the top spec car. You need an A-spec with the tech package, which this car is, and we're right around $38,000. Under 40 though, any new car under 40 I'm always amazed by. And the fact that this one is an Acura that is enjoyable to drive with great seats, great sound system, and all that good stuff, adaptive dampers like I said, I think that's a good thing. If you want the stick, and Acura says 50% of people who've raised their hand saying they wanted an Integra are getting the manual gearbox, which is great news too. What's in front of this gearbox? Like I said, because it's based on the SI, we have a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine making 200 horsepower. Here, it's very easy to drive. This is a very easy manual gearbox car. The clutch is light, almost a little too light for my taste, but you can tell where it picks up. It's easy enough leaving the line. I just came out of spending a week with the GT3 Touring, woe is me, don't cry for me. That clutch takes a little bit more work getting used to it, and then when you jump from that car to this car, the first time I pressed in the clutch, I almost pressed it through the floor, and then I'm slipping it as I'm leaving the line, because it's a very different, easy vehicle to drive. And it comes standard with rev matching too, which I appreciate, especially around town in traffic, but you can turn it off if you want to have some more fun, because the engine revs happily and freely, so if you're going to rev match this yourself with some heel toe shifting, easy enough to do. Pedals are placed nicely for it. On top of that, this does have different driving modes. There's comfort, normal, sport, and then an individual mode. I find myself setting up individual mode and just automatically going back to that. And the way I set it up is if you press individual and then you hold down individual, you can adjust engine, steering, suspension, the idle stop, start stop for the engine, and the gauge cluster, because it gets different color trim around it. So I have the engine in sport, I have the steering in comfort, I have the suspension in normal, I have start stop turned off, and I have the gauge cluster in sport, just because I like the red look of the outer rings. The reason I want the engine in sport, that's obvious, throttle response and all that good stuff. The reason I want the steering in comfort is because I feel like it's too artificially hefty in sport. It's like there's no, it's not progressive. It's as soon as you're off center, it's like there's heft. It doesn't build. I'd rather have a progressive buildup of steering effort, and this just feels artificial, like, oh, we're quartering, and I don't care for that. So I'd rather just relax it and put it in comfort, and it actually feels much more progressive. It's closer to how I want it. There's still decent heft there, so I enjoy that more that way. Suspension in normal, I don't need, it is nice and stiff in sport. There's a clear delineation between the different modes, which I always appreciate, but on a daily basis, I'm fine in normal. So, you know, you keep the engine fun, you keep the steering more progressive, and you keep this, I don't know what that was, you keep the suspension more comfortable, and you're good to go. And then I just turn start stop off because I don't care for it, and the gauge cluster is up to you. That's how I have it individually. Here in the top spec car, we get wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, we get a wireless charger, all that good stuff. If you're in lower trims, you have to have wired CarPlay, which is a bit of a bummer. That should be standard across the board for the Integra. It's the fancier car. But what further separates it from the Civic Si, like I was saying? So you cannot get the Civic Si in this sort of body style. It doesn't come this way. And this does have really good space in the back. In fact, I fit an entire Super 73 electric bike back there that I had to go return without removing any wheels or anything like that. I got it in there and I got it back out again, and it fit. And I'll be honest, I was pretty impressed. So you get more cargo room than a Civic Si. You get the adaptive dampers, which is a nice touch, which you do not get on the Si. They clearly had to leave some stuff for this. You get standard heated heaters. You get standard heated front seats as well. So I can appreciate all of that. And then again, that banging ass sound system. It's a good sound system. It's a really nice sound system, actually. And then the Acura seat. So they're giving you more to get you to spend more. So I don't feel like it's absurd of them to charge $8,000 more for this at all. I think it's nicely spaced financially. But the Si is a really good car. So I'm happy where this Integra has landed. It's comfortable. I think the styling is unique without being ridiculous. I like the Integra embossed on the front and rear fender, or near the lights rather. I think it looks good in the silver paint with this red interior. I think they've done a nice job, and it's under $40,000. So I think it's a great starting point for the rest of the potential Integra lineup. Because then if we get into a sportier Type S and a truly sporty Type R, we will have special cars on our hands, and that's a good thing. The regular Integra doesn't need to be special, shouldn't be special, and has never been special. It's just been fine. It's a good car, and that's what we have today. A sub $40,000 premium machine that is entertaining enough to drive, with some nice features, priced well relative to the market. That's all the Integra's ever been. That's what it is again here today, and it meets all of the expectations I've had for the car. I'm sure some of you are still upset that it isn't what you thought it would be. They are who we thought they were. But I like it. I'm impressed. Like I said, if you make a good car and there's anything under a 4 in the start of the price tag, I'm almost instantly intrigued because of how just everything's so expensive these days. So, yeah, I am down with the Integra.